Hi, so today I'm going to talk about a question someone asked me, which is finance still a lucrative career? It is used to be a lucrative option for many graduates, but is it still the case? Right? And he asked this question in context of what has happened in the stock market in the last maybe a few years. You've seen that the banking stocks haven't done well, right? Whether it's European banks or whether it's US banks, Asian banks, the banking stocks, especially the private banking stocks, haven't done very well compared to stocks of other industries. So is it something concerning, right? Because banking is the biggest part of finance, by the way, right? You also have insurance or your trading, wealth management, so on and so forth. But banking or lending in particular is actually is one area that is perhaps the biggest employer. If you assess number of people working, actually, it's probably banking, where most people who work in the field of finance, they work in banking, right? There are other areas of finance, no doubt about it, but banking is one of the biggest, or perhaps the biggest, right? So what's going on, right? Is it still worth pursuing a career in the field of finance? And if that is the case, if that is still lucrative, if the market is growing, if things are still good, why aren't the banking stocks doing well in the market, right? Now, I'm not going to talk about why the bank stocks are not doing well. There may be a lot of reasons behind it, and probably you even know why that's the case. But I'm going to talk about what's the situation now, right? I mean, from a career point of view, what's the situation, right? So, to tell you the truth, banking is still one of the most sought after career choice for young graduates everywhere in the world, right? Whether it's Europe, US, Asia, it's still one of the most sought after career option, right? For a variety of reasons. Okay, banking, a job in banking is more stable compared to jobs in other industry, right? Disruptions don't happen in banks that easily. That means so you do not have that many reorganizations or cases of redundancy in the field of banking compared to that in other industry, right? You have seen that in the tech industry, for example, right? What happened 2 years back to Netflix or Google or even Facebook, Meta, right? Many people lost their job, right? And simply because there was just one big change, right? The war happened, inflation increased, interest rate increased because of that, and obviously they were expecting less spend from the consumers for a variety of reasons, and because of that they started firing people, right? That's normally doesn't happen in the field of banking and finance. There are exceptions, though. You might have heard that Citibank has recently fired many people, so has Lloyds Bank in UK, so has what else, I think one other bank, I am not able to recollect the name, but one other bank in Europe has also fired quite a number of people. Many fintechs have fired people in the last few years, right? So one important thing to know is that banking is quite different from other fields in many ways. One reason, banking organizations are very regulated, right? So you can't just start a bank, right? Unlike in tech or in retail or in FMCG and other companies, where every day there are hundreds of companies being registered in the tech sector, in the FMCG sector, in the real estate sector, in other sectors. But you don't have banks. Like, how many new banks have come up in the last 10 years, right? The biggest banks 20 years back are still the biggest banks in the world, right? So nothing has changed, right? So that's not necessarily a good thing, but it's also a good thing from a career point of view. There's more stability, right? So despite the industry going through challenges, for example, disruption because of AI, increased regulation, profitability has gone down. The deposit money that used to come very easily in the past, that has become a big challenge. That's not happening anymore. fintechs are challenging the big banks. All that is happening, but despite that, banking sector is still quite robust. Without banks, other sectors cannot grow. Without lending, without money, other sectors simply cannot grow. So that will remain in place. And if banking sector is not doing well, it also indicates that the economy as a whole is not doing well, right? Maybe the stock market is doing well for whatever reason. People are not giving attention to the the important ratios anymore. Especially the retail investor, they don't look at the PE ratio and all of these important ratios for investment purpose. They simply go ahead and put their money, and that may be the reason why the market is going up and up. There may be exception to the the tech stocks in the likes of Nvidia and all. For variety of other reasons, those stocks are going up, and small cap stocks are going up because of retail money. No, that does not say anything about the general state of the economy, and that that's quite fragile at the moment everywhere in the world. Maybe in some emerging economies are doing okayish. India, for example, is one country that is doing decently, but there are many countries who are still struggling. Almost half of the European countries are not doing well. US, it's not clear whether it's doing well or not if you see recent GDP. So if the banking sector is not doing well, that indicates so much about the general state of economy. Job market is still very, very bad everywhere in the world, right? The hiring is not happening, right? People say, oh, the post pandemic growth has started, so hiring must be all time high. That's not happening. The unemployment is low in many countries because of the blue collar jobs, not the white collar jobs. Right? Those who lost their jobs during the tech crisis of 2022, many of them haven't got the jobs back, right? So to come back to the original question, right, that is banking still a lucrative career? Yes, from that point of view, it is still a lucrative career because because of the stability. Okay, the growth may be a concern for some people. I mean, the fat bonuses that used to be paid before financial crisis, that's no longer the case. The growth prospects are also a bit bad after certain experience level, but that's with every industry, right? But the stability factor is quite a thing in the field of banking and finance. And if you really want to make a career in banking and finance, this is perhaps one of the finest time, right? Especially looking at the disruption that's going to happen in the tech sector, right? Because of the AI, because of AI in particular, but other regions maybe. For example, in the case of Indian tech sector, right, what's going on is that because the work is being automated and all of that in tech, and also because of increased productivity of many good developers, the number of vacancies or the number of openings is actually coming down over time, right? That hasn't happened in the field of finance yet. Probably happen, but I don't see that happening at least for next 10 years. For a variety of reasons, that's not going to happen. One is regulators will have checks and balances. They will make sure that any new technology that comes to the industry, it is first used in a test environment, tested properly, and all of that. You don't see, in fact, in many banks, use of Gen AI is literally banned. Many European countries have banned Gen AI or any form of AI. Right? Regulators are still very skeptical about use of AI for decision making. For example, in scorecard development, you can't use AI technology in many countries. That literally banned. Right? Many fintechs are using that or trying to use that. They are under scrutiny. Right? And that's not going very well. In fact, I was hearing a podcast of a very famous fintech founder. He was saying that there's no concept called fintech anymore. If you are starting a fintech, just be sure that you are starting a financial service firm. It's a regulation first, compliance first firm. Tech comes later, or tech is almost not important in fintech. Okay, and that's a very big statement. Which means that because of the regulatory pressure, things cannot happen that way, right? So point I'm trying to say, maybe I'm confusing you a bit. Disruptions don't happen in the field of finance and banking that easily, right? And that in a way is not a good thing for the world. But because the stakes are very high, so regulators make sure that there are checks and balances, and because of which the jobs are a bit more stable compared to other sector. The conclusion here is that yes, banking, a career in banking, a career in field of finance, but particularly in the field of banking, still quite lucrative, and you may choose to work in any department, right? Risk, compliance, modeling, audit, front office, right? Relationship management, so on and so forth. You can choose any one of these and make a career. I mean, you don't need a qualification in banking and finance in order to work in the field of finance, right? If you're just interested in finance and you are willing to learn, I think you still can make a career. There are many people in the field of finance who don't have any formal qualification in the field of finance. They're neither accountants, qualified accountants, nor they have, MBA finance degrees, or nor they have CFA qualifications, right? I mean, even if you don't have any qualification in the field of finance, you could always pursue FRM and PRM and CFA even, right? And that won't hurt you in long run, right? You don't necessarily have to go for an MBA finance in order to work in the field of finance. So yeah, if you are interested in the field of finance, I think this is still a good time to make career in this field, and you shouldn't be very skeptical about it. And there may be some challenges, but these challenges are there everywhere, right? And finance is no exception, right? And it's because of the general state of the economy. It's just nothing to do with the finance industry as such. The banking sector is robust like never before, thanks to the increased regulations post financial crisis of 2008, and because of that, things have become much better, right? More stable. There was COVID crisis, then there was Ukraine crisis. Despite this, two major events, banks still were quite resilient and very robust to these shocks, and it's still doing well, right? Profitability is quite good. I mean, in terms of real growth, and in terms of challenges, there are no doubt about it, but it has nothing to do with just the sector itself, and there's no question about the survivability. Actually, the solvency risk is not necessarily very high at the moment, right? So that's a very good thing, which was extremely high in 2008 or 2009 in those times, but things have changed quite dramatically over the years, right? Conclusion here is that yes, it's still quite a very lucrative career choice if you want to make your career in the field of finance. Thank you. Thanks for watching, man.